It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. We had a question from a young woman who happens to be a lesbian who trains in Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, and she had a couple of concerns about training with men and training with women. She doesn't want to train with the men in her class, doesn't want to roll with them, because she's had some bad experiences of men creeping on her, trying to flirt with her, and she's not into that, and she doesn't want to deal with it, right? And to that I say, that's fine. Roll with whoever you want to. Don't roll with whoever you don't want to, right? There was a young Muslim man who sent me a similar question, shockingly similar question, who said, according to his religion, which he follows very faithfully, he cannot touch a woman he is not married to. And so he would not roll with the women in his class, and some of his teammates and his coaches approached him and had a bit of a falling out with him, like, it's not fair. You're discriminating against the women in this class. You're robbing them of a valuable training partner. Shame, shame, shame. And, oh, man. I don't think they should have done that, man, because who you want to roll with is up to you. If somebody makes you feel unsafe, don't roll with them. If somebody makes you feel uncomfortable, don't roll with them. If rolling with somebody is going to violate the principles that you hold more dear than life itself, don't roll with them. You don't owe anybody an explanation as of who you choose to roll with and who you choose not to roll with, right? If you're not feeling it, don't. If you are, great. Now, the second part of this question was also a very important one. She said, I feel like kind of a hypocrite because I roll with these women and they don't know that she's a lesbian, and she feels like if she came out to them and told them her situation, that they might give her the side eye and be like, wait a minute, are you creeping on me? Are you doing the same thing to us that you're afraid these men are doing to you? Well, you expressed quite frankly in your letter that you're not, that jiu-jitsu is not a sexual thing to you. I hate it when people sexualize jiu-jitsu, man. Like, anybody who's rolled for a considerable amount of time gets that out of their heads pretty quick. You're like, people make jokes like, oh, it's violent hugging, ha ha ha. Oh, look, he's got you in a triangle choke. Oh, you're caught between his thighs, ha ha ha. Okay, yeah. But if you've rolled for even a little bit, you realize, there's nothing sexy about this, guys. It's a very, very different situation than what people imagine it is, right? So you understand this is not a sexual situation. This is a training scenario. We are here to have a transformative experience, to become better martial artists, to help lift each other up, to push each other toward that goal. But you're afraid that if you come out to these other women in the class, that, well, you're going to lose some friends maybe. That you're going to lose people's respect, that it's going to make it awkward and have a less than desirable result, right? I had a student who was a gay man, and he never came out and said, hey, guess what, everybody, I'm gay. Woo. That never happened. I mean, I think we all kind of knew, because he was like way into musical theater and drag performances, and we never had that conversation, but it was just kind of understood. But at the same time, it was understood we are friends, we're training partners, we're here for the very specific reason of training in martial arts and having that transformative experience of becoming better people, of becoming better martial artists, of improving ourselves, improving our skill sets. Not to have a sexy, sexy time, if you will. And he didn't owe me that explanation. Like, just in case you feel kind of weird, I'm not trying to creep on you or anything, but, I do have, that conversation didn't need to happen. And in my opinion, that conversation doesn't need to happen with you either. If you want to have it, great. See where it goes. Let me know how that plays out, but does it need to happen? No. If you're being honest with me, if you're being honest with yourself, then no. If there's something you weren't telling me, if there's something, if you are having as my assistant Xiao would say, urges that you cannot keep in check. Maybe do have a conversation about that. But again, if you were being honest with me, then, no, nothing needs to be said. It's just jiu-jitsu. You know that. They know that. So get out there and roll, right? All that being said, and what I'm about to say, I'm not just going to say to gay people or lesbians, but anybody who is sexually active with multiple partners and who trains in combat sports. Get yourself tested for sexually transmitted diseases on the regular. Why? Why? Because in combat sports, there is sometimes a transfer of bodily fluids, including blood. Right? And if you don't know, HIV can be transmitted through blood. Okay, so if you, like I said before, have multiple sexual partners, get yourself tested regularly. And if you do test positive for a sexually transmitted disease, HIV in particular, a bloodborne illness like that, then definitely let your training partners know about it so they can make an informed decision about whether or not to train with you and to what extent. Every professional fighter has to be tested for hepatitis, for HIV, probably COVID now, etc., etc. You got to be tested for all these different bloodborne illnesses. Why? Because there are exchanges of blood in fights, even in jiu-jitsu. Even in jiu-jitsu. How many times have you been rolling and you saw some blood on your gi, like just a little bit of blood, maybe somebody had a little scab that came loose or something like this. Happens all the time. So again, not specifically to people who have same gender attraction, but to anybody who is sexually active with multiple partners, get yourself tested regularly. That is the thing. That is the information we need to share with people we're rolling with. And that may be an awkward conversation to have, but that is one we need to address. So, thank you for watching. Keep rolling. Get out there and train.